sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I consider impossible is losing. Sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I consider impossible is losing. I've been waiting on the sidelines for a long time. Now I'm finally getting in the game. It's about time. This is my time. This is my time. The only thing I
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TD Phins Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Y'all punch that like button on your way in the building. Let your friends and family members know about the channel. On our way to 30,000 subs, so make sure you subscribe and let everybody you know that love the Dolphins and just NFL football in general subscribe to the channel now. All right, listen, man, I hope everybody's having a blessed day, a great day. I hope you're going into your hump day Wednesday excited because the week is almost over, but let's end on a positive note, making sure that we put in any and everything that we can to just have a phenomenal week. I'm feeling good today, man. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what it is, I say this started back in Monday, I was feeling good, energetic. Maybe I'm refreshed from the vacation. Maybe that's what it is. Some Disney action, some Key West action for a week, and all the good stuff. Went to go see Bad Boys with the wife. Now I'm back in the studio, man. Your boy back, man. Y'all hit that like button. Punch that like button. Y'all know I ain't been streaming in a while, so, they ain't been sending the notifications out like they should, man. But I got a special guest tonight, y'all. I'm excited about this one because I love talking Miami Dolphins football, and I love getting a better understanding of who we are as a team and what we are as an organization. And tonight we have a special guest that might be able to provide an even better insight on our offensive system. What it entails, the ins and outs, how you place the quarterback in it, what the quarterback's role is in it, all of that good stuff. And I always tell y'all this. I tell y'all there's one team in the NFL that we are their complement. We are them. We're not as talented as them, in my opinion, but we are them. We're the fast version. They're the powerful version. They're the physical version. That's how I like to look at it. San Francisco 49ers. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I have a special guest. I got my man, Jesse from Last Second Sports. He represents the San Francisco 49ers on Roundtable Sports. He has his own platform on YouTube, Last Second Sports. Y'all give it up for my man, Jesse. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I got to ask you, was Bad Boys what it's cut out to be? Because I want to see the movie myself, but I got to hear it.
It's crazy, man. It's amazing. It didn't disappoint. It didn't disappoint. It's full of action, full of excitement, full of laughter, full of just it's it. You gotta see it. It's one of them things where usually I'd be like, oh, you ain't gotta see it. You could wait a few weeks for it to come out, on one of the platforms. No, you got to go sit down in the theater and give this its proper due for $12 or whatever it costs. It's definitely worth it, man. It really is. No, real talk, it really is. I don't like boosting nothing up or giving anything props that don't deserve it, as you know how I do with my quarterback. But but yeah. But yeah, man. But before we
hold on, if Bad Boys 4 was a quarterback, which quarterback in the league would it be, TD?
Bad Boys 4 was a quarterback, which one would it be? I'm gonna give it Lamar Jackson.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
That's good praise.
And now I could easily say, oh, it's Mahomes, but it's that good where I could say Mahomes, but you gotta leave some room for better movies.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But it's as good as being a Mahomes. But I just like to leave room for some movies that I love that I feel like is better for me. So yeah, Lamar Jackson is MVP. It's MVP level.
I love it. All right, yeah. I'm gonna see it now. I'm gonna see it. My son is a Ravens fan, so I like me some Lamar Jackson too.
Sorry to hear that too. But, hey, but ladies and gentlemen, man, this is my man Jesse from Last Second Sports. When you get a chance, make sure you go over to his channel. All right, 49ers content, subscribe. It is right here on the screen. Last Second Sports. There's also a Last Second Sports 2. Make sure you check that out as well. Check out both platforms. And again, make sure you subscribe to the Roundtable. He is one of our representatives for the Roundtable as well. So just so you know, make sure you go check him out on the Roundtable or on his channel or both. To tell you the truth, go check him out, man. If y'all love him tonight, you're gonna love his platform and what he does. All right, man. I want to dive right in and I want to go ahead and let you know. I want to kind of like treat this like interview style, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
That way
I might shoot it back though. I might shoot it back. I have some questions for you too. So
let's do it. Let's do it for sure, man. So Jesse, how long have you been doing the YouTube thing?
3.5 years. Started February 2021. Before that, I had a podcast. It was just an Audible podcast. It was all sports. When Last Second Sports started, there was 4 of us initially. We ran it. We talked about all sports, and then as time went on, with business, how things work. I mean, one person gets really into it and sees a future in it. Maybe not everybody sees that future the same way. And, one party outworks the others and people fall by the wayside. And so, here we are 3.5 years later, chugging along, man.
I hear you, man. And I look at your channel, man. You're up to about 22.2 K subs. I usually don't count numbers. I just do what I do. But at the same token, having done what you do, I recognize what real growth is and, what success is. And I'm going to tell you now, 3.5 years in, I was probably around 17. And to see you around 22, man, that's a beautiful thing. You're definitely growing. And you have an audience that loves you. Obviously, you have an audience that loves you because I'm sitting here looking at the super chats here, and I got Dave saying, Jesse, we will follow you to the depths of hell. Man, we don't want to put hell on Jesse. Unless
no. It's not like Team Heaven over here. Team Heaven.
I'm just making sure y'all know who.
No.
All right. Special guest is Jesse, the man from Niner side. Man, you just spoiling it for us, Dave. You tried to spoil it for us. Marco said, TD, how do I get tickets for the game against the Jets? I'm gonna assume you meant like to hang out with y'all and attend the game. What does it all come with? Go to Roundtable Sports, go to AFC East Roundtable, click on the link in the description of the video. You'll see the link to the tickets. You'll see what it comes with. The real quick run through. It comes with the Saturday night Miller Ale House meet and greet. We all get together, maybe take a few shots, have some fun, guys. And then on Sunday, we've booked a private terrace in the stadium where we overlook the stadium. We got our own private section looking down at the field. So 65 tickets that we have. It's very expensive, but we were able to get the ticket prices for you guys down as low as possible. So the packages are online. The link is in the description of the AFC East Roundtable video. So check that out. And that's the Jets Dolphins game in Miami. Now, if you want to go to the Bills Dolphins game in Buffalo, those are up there as well. And the Jets Dolphins game, the Bills Jets game week 4 will be in MetLife as well, where we have an event. So 3 events for AFC East Roundtable this year. And in the future, we're going to have them on other roundtables as well. So hopefully Jesse will be heading those up with us, man. So good times. Dave's back at it, said, do Phins consider themselves a Niner Miami? Man, I put my foot in my mouth early in the stream saying they're the better version, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that, all right? But yeah, 3.5 years, that's what's up, man. So San Francisco 49ers, have you always been a Niners fan, born, blood, or how does that go?
Yeah, bro. Ever since I can remember, when I was 6 years old, my first memory as a 49er fan, I was 6 years old. Oddly enough, rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs on TV, thinking they were the 49ers because they were red. My dad was a 49er fan, born in California. He had to correct me and say, hey, not every red team is the 49ers, and kind of show me the ropes. But yeah, man, I remember crying when the Giants beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship. I was a young kid then, and 94. Luckily, I was around to remember the 94 Super Bowl. I wasn't very old, but I was around. And it's been a long road since. A lot of success, a lot of getting close, but been a Niner fan my whole life, man.
That's what's up, man. So San Francisco 49ers, let's dive right in, man. You remember Mike McDaniel's experience with San Francisco? Can you tell us a little about what you thought about him there, the impact he had, if any, and what were his strengths? What were some things you may have had times where you were concerned with?
I would say the Mike McDaniel experience really didn't become known to the fan base maybe until like 2019 timeframe when they were making that Super Bowl run. But you really started to see his personality come out in the small interviews that you get as an offensive position coach, essentially. Mm-hmm. And, he was the run game coordinator, eventually became the offensive coordinator, but he was really known for bringing the run game scheme to the 49ers. Like, that's something that Kyle Shanahan talks him up for big time, says he's a major part as to why they do the things that they do. He's the creative one. And then when he became the offensive coordinator, which was really all about trying to get him promoted and get him a head coaching job, we know that Kyle Shanahan's going to call the plays. That didn't change that year. But we started to get to know Mike McDaniel a lot more, how quirky he is, how funny he is. And stories started to come out because Shanahan and him are polar opposites as far as personality goes. Shanahan's very serious. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy. That is not Mike McDaniel, as you know, maybe jokes around a little bit too much for your liking. I don't know what your thoughts are on him, but I will say that he really was kind of the balance. He was the yin to the yang of Shanahan. And I think that Shanahan definitely has missed him a little bit since he's been gone. Not enough to like stop us from winning, but overall, I think that relationship he had with McDaniel kept him very honest. McDaniel, I think, challenged him because he's extremely smart. And he helped balance him out and who he is and take kind of that serious edge away from him. And I think that a lot of players really were in tune with Mike McDaniel because he was kind of the softer side that they can kind of go to and talk to and get things off their chest a little bit. So that's what I remember of Mike McDaniel.
So you speak of the softer side, here in Miami, first of all, when it comes to the interviews, we thought it was all cool at first, but now it's getting like annoying, like to a point of like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, just like he'll take 3 minutes to answer, is the sky blue? Well, and the gist of things, what you want it to be is, blue, but there's, he just goes, it drives us crazy. But I want to ask you about the nice guy, the guy that the players love. There's a debate in Miami because a lot of people deem the team soft. I even accuse us sometimes, man, like we're not physical. We're not like, we don't set the tone, like, and our leader doesn't exude like just toughness all the time. It's always positive. It's always like, we don't typically get to see the accountability, the holding players accountable and the things of that nature. Now, we've had some recent occurrences of players saying that he has, but we get a lot of the passive stuff. and he always protects this guy out in the public, in the media, and things of that nature. But, it's like guys don't show up when they're getting punched in the mouth, and he's not standing in front of the crowd saying, let's go to war. He's just there hoping what he puts together works. And if it doesn't, there's this dumbfounded look. What's your thoughts of like the polar opposite coaches, like the one you have now versus McDaniel? Do you need like two guys that are working together to have a perfect balance, or are we just screwed having this one-dimensional kind of like friendly guy?
I think really what you need is somebody to counterbalance that. I mean, Shanahan's a great example of that. We talked about what he is. He's also, the other thing Shanahan is not, is he's not a rah-rah guy. He's not getting fired up on the sideline. He will chew out your quarterback. You'll see him often just getting in a quarterback's ass. So those things are going to happen. But what he always had was a defensive coordinator that did balance him out. He had a D'Amico Ryans, which was a player's coach. He had a Robert Saleh. He had a Mike McDaniels on his staff, which was the player's coach. So that's Kyle Shanahan being smart and recognizing, hey, these are the things that might be my shortcomings, but what I can do is build the staff around those shortcomings. I don't know that McDaniel's done that. I think McDaniel is extremely competitive. And one, as annoying as I'm sure he can be, one thing that I found funny was the clip last year, but also gave a little bit of insight into who he is when Dan Marino came back. And they're doing the flyover and they're cheering Dan, and he's sitting behind Dan. He's like, we're going to break all your records, Dan. We're going to beat you, Dan. You're not that good, Dan. And yes, it's funny in the moment, but he means that. Like that's really who he is. He's that competitive. So I think he has a competitive nature, but he is a newer head coach. And I think it's hard for a lot of leaders in life. This isn't just a head coach thing, but I think new leaders, when they get the keys to the ship, it's really hard for them to come in with an iron fist, not realizing that it's probably better to come in tough and maybe ease off. They want to come in and they want to be liked. And so it's harder to start out as that guy and then ramp it up. And maybe that's where he's been, and that's kind of his personality. He needs to get a coaching staff that can highlight his strengths and then maybe work around his weaknesses as well.
Interesting. The thing that concerns us is just the big moments. He does a great job all year, especially when we're winning. It's just the moments when we're losing. He's on the sideline, has this flabbergasted look like, what do I do? And then his message is, failure is an opportunity to, overcome. Adversity is an opportunity. And now we get to set that opportunity to reverse that. And every time that he does that, we lose. Every time he gives that message, we're going through a rough patch, and this is finally the opportunity. This is what we've waited for, what we prepared for. And this is the moment, and we lose. We're at that moment, we fail. And not only do we fail, but we fail miserably. We look lost on the sideline. Nobody's leading. He's even looking like, what do I do? I mean, that concerns me. Well, I guess you wouldn't have saw any of that in San Francisco because you got your main guy in the front. What's your thoughts on that? And have you even seen what I've seen?
Well, I think that might come from Shanahan in San Francisco, right? I mean,
he's like that too.
Well, when you're coming up through the ranks, you're usually picking out the good and the bad from your leader. And you only know what you know. He's been around Shanahan for a long time, and he knows what Shanahan is and what Shanahan isn't. He runs things probably very similarly to Shanahan. Like, think about when you're going to come up with a practice script. Like, you don't just come up with that out of thin air. Like, you've been taught what that looks like. So Shanahan, I mean, listen, for as great as Shanahan is, us 49er fans are like, listen, dude, I don't know how many times you can choke in a big moment, but you sure seem to be setting a record over here. Like, every time you get a lead, you're blowing a big lead. I said after the Packers game in the divisional round this year that the 49ers won that game in spite of Shanahan. I thought they worked around some of his weaknesses. So maybe that's a schematic thing. Maybe that's a preparation thing that is passed down, and Shanahan isn't the best at preparing his teams. I mean, famously, we talk about Shanahan in the little things. When they know they have a rain game, TD, they don't practice with a wet ball. because he wants the offense to be in rhythm and perfect. And it's like, those are the little things that set teams apart. You talk about a young team, for example. How many times have you heard a story about a young team that's going in the playoffs on the road in a tough environment? And so what do? They move practice indoors. They crank up the noise. They simulate what it's going to be like on the field when you can't hear your teammates. You can't hear the calls. You can't hear the checks. You can't hear when you're going to hike the ball. Are you going on one? Are you going on two? What does a silent count look like? That is not Shanahan. He doesn't detail his practices and his preparation that way.
That's
maybe that comes from there. That's it.
That's interesting that you say that, because that's how I feel about the Miami Dolphins in cold weather games. We don't have situations where we put them in cold weather situations. Even if you got to travel the team out early and get a day of practice in, we don't put them in those situations. We go out on the West Coast and we're in a loud environment. We have communication problems, but we don't prepare for those moments. That is very interesting that you say that that Shanahan does it, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know much about Shanahan, and this is already interesting to hear some of the similarities. What are some of the other flaws that you think Shanahan may have? And I'm just curious to see if those are some of the issues with McDaniel.
Yeah, I think Shanahan might have the opposite flaw, where he's a little bit too rough around the edges. I mean, famously with Ayuk, they're in contract talks right now. We'll see when or if that gets done. But he put Ayuk in the doghouse his second season, where he wasn't throwing him the ball. He wasn't playing him as much. And that really, Ayuk talked about it this offseason, like how he felt like he always prepared the right way and almost didn't understand why he was put in that situation. Now, he did say that also he feels like he's better for it, which is great. But, you know, Kyle Shanahan's the type of guy that's like, listen, if you can't run my system to perfection, you're not going to be on the field, even if you're the best player sometimes. You know, we have a running back right now in Jordan Mason, who we believe is like Marshawn Lynch reincarnated. He can't see the field because maybe on third downs, he isn't as good of a blocker, or he doesn't run the right routes. He doesn't know the scheme. This is the same Kyle Shanahan who famously in 2019 had Raheem Mostert crush it in the NFC Championship, TD. And who did he start? Tevin Coleman. Why? Because Coleman knew his offense better. So he won't play players unless you know the ins and outs of his scheme to perfection.
Wow. Very interesting. I mean, and we know Mostert very well now, but let me ask you this. The system. Have you paid attention to the Dolphin system at all? So how similar is it, or how far apart is it now?
I think there's a lot of similarities in the base of the offense. You know, you want to win over the middle of the field, whether that's, you know, short, intermediate, deep. Most of your throws are going to be over the middle of the field. We used to joke when Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback, because he wouldn't take those chances downfield, that he played within a tennis court. He wasn't throwing outside the numbers. He was playing short and intermediate, but everything was over the middle, which there's a lot of risk in those throws. That's where most of the defenders are. Everything's timing based. So when the quarterback's dropping back, 3-step drop, 5-step drop, or even the occasional 7-step drop, which is still oddly in this offense. I don't know why. But when that drop is made, as soon as that back foot hits, it's all lined up with your reads. Your first read is when that back foot hits. Your second read is when you hitch. Your third read is when you hitch again. Everything is married to your feet. And then the other thing is there's a lot of motion, a lot of shifts. That's something that McDaniels has even taken to a whole new level. Shanahan calls it the cheat motion, where you've got the wide receiver running to the sideline and hiking the ball. That's something that he's kind of introduced and made a little famous over the last year or so. So there's definitely a lot of similarities in the fundamentals of the offense. Obviously, Shanahan is more married to the run, I think, than McDaniels is. And McDaniels more willing to take some of those shots downfield than what Shanahan is. But as far as the principles, the core principles, the run scheme, what the quarterback's allowed to do or not, you know, I know that the quarterback in the 49ers offense, he doesn't call the protections. That's on the center. And also, I would say how the team is built. I've got to imagine you guys are frustrated with the lack of offensive line depth over the years since McDaniel's been here. Why don't they put more into the offensive line? That's something we've been saying for years. They are fine with offensive linemen, as they call it, that are just above the line of being bad. They feel like they can work with that and work around it, and they would rather spend their assets on players that touch the football.
So that's how it is in San Francisco as well.
Absolutely.
So McDaniels has definitely brought that approach to Miami. He even had an argument with them in the war room or whatever. He had to sit the entire staff down, general manager and everybody, and get them to buy in on not investing in other offensive linemen, that the way he's going to set it up, it'll be just fine. And they're trusting him on that because they get the ball out quick, but the O-line's still trash, but they get the ball out quick so they don't look as exposed, right? But I want you brought something up that I want to touch on the quarterback, who we talked about throwing in the middle of the field and things of that nature. Now, does the offense also have a lot of throwing on the outside? It's just that with Jimmy G, they couldn't do it? Or is it the offense is just middle of the field, short, intermediate? Or does it have the wrinkles on the outside and everything?
Yeah, most of the time when they get horizontal, it's going to be near the line of scrimmage. It's not going to be a lot of downfield horizontal throws. That's just not what they're looking for. And I think for them, when you think about it, you're playing on time. You know, a lot of the routes on the outside are going to be your longer routes, your longer developing routes, your double moves, that type of stuff. They're trying to play on time and in rhythm. So 3-step drop, can you get the ball out? 5-step drop, can you get the ball out? You know, when you make that hitch is your second read there. So no, I mean, the offense is mainly predicated over the middle. Now, I think Brock Purdy transcends it at a much higher level than what Jimmy G did. He can actually get mobile and protect himself. He'll extend a play, and so he's willing to take some of those chances, not only downfield, but outside the numbers, unlike Jimmy Garoppolo. But if this offense is operating in perfection, it is played over the middle of the field most of the time.
So, I mean, we already know that Tua is better than Purdy, but with that being, is there a problem there? What's wrong, man? Did I say something?
Come on, man. Come on. No, he's not. He's not. But we can continue.
Tua had more passing yards.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I know. That's an argument that Dolphins fans make. Listen, here's the thing when it comes to Tua and Purdy. I think there's a lot of similarities. Tua doesn't have some of the physical tools that Purdy has. And I know it sounds crazy because Purdy's not a big guy, but Purdy's mobile. He can protect himself. And I don't believe that Tua has that in his bag. And I also think that he's willing to take some chances. He plays, for lack of a better term, he plays with his nuts out. And I don't see that from Tua. So,
man, those fighting words, Jesse. Oh, man. No, so in the offense, though, you know, I like you brought up some good things, you know, and you actually detailed our offense to the T, just explaining the system. When we do throw outside the numbers, we're trying to get on the outside, you know, like in the flats and things like that, and quick right away. A lot of it is the middle of the field, but McDaniel has brought the approach as well, attacking downfield. Here's the deal, and I see this with y'all too. Did y'all play Buffalo last year, by the way?
No, we didn't play Buffalo last year. We do this year.
Okay. Did you play the Chiefs? Oh yeah, obviously. Never mind.
Yeah. Like, can we not talk about that, TD? Come on, man.
Yeah, so I want to bring this up because I want to use Buffalo and Baltimore, for example.
We did play Baltimore.
These are two teams that scheme this system perfectly. Their defense. They take away the middle of the field. They take away the short game. And go ahead and beat us deep because we're sending pressure packages to where you got to get rid of it quick as well. There's options still open, but is your quarterback going to hit them right away? Are they on that level where they're going to hit it right away and notice it? Are they going to recognize where the pressure's coming from and take their eye? You know, are they going to do these things? And it reminds me of when we played them, they decimated us. But then I say when they played the 49ers, they like, you thought we got decimated. Y'all got decimated. So
yeah,
there is a blueprint because even Patrick Queen did an interview. He was talking on, I think I don't know which one. I want to guess Rich Eisen show. And he said, because they asked, how were you able to do what you did against the 49ers? He said, them, just like the Dolphins, they have tails. They were like, what are the tails? Well, just in case we play them again, I don't want to say it. Like, they know something. They figure something out, and like they obliterate a Buffalo feels the same way. Their secondary guy said that there's tails with the Dolphins offense. They know what they are. We're trying to figure out. I mean, I think we know it's because the offenses are limited in those capacities. But what I found on tape, Jesse, is they give you the outside the number intermediate throws. That's the one area of the field that, well, when they scheme against us, normally they don't give it away because they change the scheme for other teams. But against us, they just say, we're going to take away the things that you do well. But the one thing we'll give you, because we have to give it to you because the only way we could take away what you do well, we got to give you those post routes and those corners, depending on where the receivers start. We got to give you those. And they give you those, but will the quarterback hit it in time? Will they have enough time to throw it? The quarterback has to be on that next level. And then they mix it up, and they also do a little pressing in that to disrupt the timing, put their hands on the receivers. How do you get past that if you got quarterbacks that don't want to throw out, that aren't, let me not say they don't want to, but they're not great at throwing outside the numbers. They don't have the arm strength to be successful throwing out outside the numbers, because it takes longer to get there unless you have the arm strength. What do you do in this system?
I think this is a great question, TD, and this is my issue.
Sorry to cut you off real quick.
Yeah, you're good.
But because I believe this is why y'all keep going so far and then failing at the end, because teams play you this exact way in the biggest game, and you can't even figure out how to get past that hump. Like you had the trophy in your hand 3 times in the last 10 years and literally snatched because of this reason, in my opinion. I may be wrong, but what's your thoughts?
No, I don't disagree with you. I think the other part is that Shanahan abandons the run game too, which is the strength of this 49ers team and always has been. Run, play defense, go that route. And for some reason, in the strangest times, he stops running the ball. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, right? We talk about how neither of these teams invest in the offensive line as a priority. When a lot of other teams build through the trenches, they look at it and they say, okay, quarterback's the most important position. Protecting your quarterback and getting after the quarterback, that's how you build your team. Well, the 49ers and the Dolphins look at it and they say, we got an offensive genius, so quarterback's not necessarily the most important thing. Hell, protecting the quarterback's not the most important thing. Now, we do want to get after your quarterback. That's very important to us, so we're going to have all the edge rushers in the world. But when you play a team that's dirty up front and can press those linemen and force them to play outside of what they're comfortable with, pressure you with 4 down linemen, or give you simulated pressures and confuse them, bump those outside weapons and take away the timing, it absolutely gives the 49ers fits. It has. I mean, the teams last year that gave the 49ers the most fits, the Cleveland Browns, great corner room, great pass rush. Obviously, we saw how that went, struggled there. The Baltimore Ravens, they gave you fits as well. And then the Kansas City Chiefs. These are all teams that can jam your receivers, throw off the timing, and make those offensive linemen that aren't that great protect a quarterback. And the 49ers haven't been able to win a Super Bowl, and that's a big reason why. So, yeah, I mean, styles make fights. And unfortunately for the 49ers, the style that gets them is a team like the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Browns.
So it has nothing to do with the quarterback.
I think it did when Jimmy G was around. When I look at Brock Purdy, listen, and for those of you in the chat, Dolphins fans, I am not a Brock Purdy homer. I'm not that one. 49er fans are not there. A lot of fans aren't big fans of me because I am wait and see on Brock Purdy. I'm not willing to just crown him as some elite quarterback. You know, I think ranking him anywhere from 10 to 14 is fair at this point, but it's still way too early in his career to say what he fully is and what he's not. Now, he definitely has some strengths, but one of the weaknesses is he doesn't have the strongest arm, and that's something that we can say about Tua. Now, what fans will do is they love to bring up deep throws and stats there. Well, listen, Brock Purdy is the number 1 rated quarterback on throws over 20 yards. I thought he doesn't throw deep. That is not indicative of arm strength. Arm strength is when you're falling back, you got pressure in your face, you're on the far hash, and you got to hit a 20-yard out in a tight window. Can you make that throw? That's arm strength. Now, every quarterback can throw 40, 50 yards in the NFL. That's not arm strength. Can you throw outside the numbers off of a back foot when you're being pressured? That is arm strength. That's something that Purdy is not ever going to have physically. And I think that it is a bit of an issue. It's not an issue until it's an issue, but it's usually an issue in big time games and big time moments. I don't know that physically he's going to be able to overcome that. And Tua has the same problem.
I always explain arm strength like this to people because it's different ways. And I think you went from the physical standpoint. You're off platform. Without using your base, can you still get it there, right? That is the element. But I always tell people arm strength is more about timing and not distance. So, you know, some guys, just hypothetically, I'm just going to throw it out just to make the point here. If I'm throwing a 25-yard post, right? Some guys will get it there in 2.6 seconds, but some guys will get it there in 1.9. That's arm strength because now I can actually take that millisecond to read what's happening with the defense. Now I can pull the trigger. Guys without arm strength, by the time they're done reading, it's too late to pull the trigger on some throws because by the time it gets there, now the defender can catch up or it gets picked or whatever it may be. It's really about how long it takes for that ball. Because you look at Tua's throws outside the number, it sails and receivers sometimes finish their route and they're waiting. You know, that's why we have to create the offense to make sure he throws ahead of time before the guy's even open. And some people say anticipation, right? Even though with Tua, I think it's spot throwing and not technically that. But if you had like superior arm strength, when you see that guy open, a defender can be close and you still can drill that ball in like a bullet. And it doesn't take as long to get there because the force behind the throw is reducing the time to get there. And a lot of people don't understand that with arm strength. You know, they think it's just distance. Oh, people say he can't. If every quarterback in the NFL better be able to sling the rock 50 yards. Okay, at a minimum. And really the threshold need to be 55, which you probably can question that with some of them. But the difference is how long does it take to get there? You know, you know that some quarterbacks can throw a 30-yard middle of the field rope that doesn't, like, the ball never gets higher than 10 feet. It's like a rope. But weak armed quarterbacks, the ball has to go like 17 feet in the air to get enough to get there. You know, that's arm strength. How much of a bullet force can you put on the pass versus having to cut back and like let it float to get there, and it takes longer. So I feel like the system that the 49ers and the Dolphins run, the reason why Jimmy G, because how was Jimmy G's arm strength?
Slightly better than I would say Brock's. He had a quicker release as well, but it wasn't elite arm strength. No,
I think that's what the system is missing. A quarterback that can do the things that they can do, but with arm strength. Like, I just think this system is the most unstoppable system with a quarterback with arm strength, because here's what I think people don't give McDaniels a lot of credit on, and maybe Shanahan as well, right? They are masters of creating a system and doing the things that all their players do well. Everything else they stay away from. But what if they had the quarterback with elite arm strength that was efficient and with a quick release and could do all of those things? Now they could attack outside the numbers in the system. We say this system doesn't do that, but maybe it does. It just doesn't because of the personnel, the quarterbacks we have. And I've always said that's what we're missing. That's what you're missing in this system to be potentially the greatest system ever, is that quarterback that has every intangible in it. But a lot of people like to say there ain't many quarterbacks that can run this system. What do you think about that? Because I totally disagree with it. How do you know without trying?
Yeah, I think there's probably more quarterbacks that can run this system than what people want to give it credit for. But on the flip side of that is there is a particular type of quarterback that these guys are looking for. Now, I don't know what it is with Mike McDaniel, right? I mean, he inherited Tua, to be fair, okay? And you saw the first phone call, he propped him up, you're the best, I love all of that. I love all of that as a new leader, but we don't know what he prefers at quarterback. I know what Shanahan says he prefers Josh Allen, right? Let's literally come out of his mouth like, oh, I wanted Josh Allen too, but he just got picked right before we could. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because if Josh Allen would have been a 49er, he would have never made it to year 3. You would have moved on from him because you didn't have the patience, right? And so he wants a guy who's established with the arm strength and can do all the things, but he doesn't want to go through the growing pains. And what we do know with guys like Tua, Purdy, what have you, they may not have that physical ceiling that some of these other guys do, but their floor is much higher as well. There's not a lot of risk with them. They're very smart. They know how to operate within the offense. They usually know exactly what they can and can't get away with, and they're willing to operate within those limitations. So those are the guys that Shanahan ends up with because he doesn't have the patience to develop a guy that does all the things that he truly wants. That's why he was down to go get Matthew Stafford, was unable to get him, but was down to go get him because he was established. He didn't have to make him be a good quarterback. He just already was a good quarterback. So I don't know.
Can't really develop them into elite, just getting the most out of who they are and what they do, and it's already in them. But to me, I hate it. That's the guys who are good enough not to be good enough. They're good enough to win games, but they're not good enough to win Super Bowls. Because here's my thing, Jesse. I felt like in the Super Bowl, both teams played phenomenal. You could say, yeah, the defense let up some this and that at the end and all this and that. But, I mean, in my opinion, we could always hindsight it. But in my opinion, these quarterbacks are not to be stopped in these big moments. Okay? I don't even like to even talk about defense anymore. Like, this ain't the old Ravens and Pittsburgh and Giants. This ain't that. Bears and all of that. The league isn't like that anymore. In these big moments, I'm seeing 35-32. I'm seeing the defense ain't even really mattering. Yeah, they can make a play here and there, but the points are going up. I'm seeing the NFL turn into this league where both quarterbacks can be in the Super Bowl and play a great game, but who makes the most mistakes? And I tell you, I've already evaluated that game 50 times. I saw Patrick Mahomes to make 2 bad mistakes in that game, and they both were in the first half in the end zone, overthrowing his guys. I don't know if you remember those. Those should have been touchdowns. He messed up. He missed points off the board, right? But Purdy made 3. Only 3. I'll take a quarterback that gave me 5 or 6 mistakes, and that's still a phenomenal game. Purdy had a phenomenal game. But he had 3 mistakes in the game. It was a pass over the middle to Ayuk that he just straight up missed. There was one in the back of the end zone on the right side that he I think he might have overthrown, and it was one more. I just don't remember. But it was 3. And I'm like, this league done got so crazy with quarterbacks that if both teams got a good roster, it's a wash. It comes down to who plays the better quarterback play, even if it's just one play. And it reminds me of the Eagles versus the Patriots, Tom Brady versus Nick Foles. both quarterbacks over 400 yards, and they both ran that same play where they threw the ball to Tom Brady. He wasn't physical enough. It went off his fingertips. The Eagles did the same thing, threw it to Nick Foles. He caught it, and that was the difference of the game. They both balled out. And it's like people are like, yeah, but the quarterback's still great. You don't just move on from him. But in today's NFL, you can't be good enough to not be good enough. Like, you're almost gotta be elite or great now. Like, and you gotta outplay that guy on the other side of the ball. And I say all that to say this: it becomes harder and harder every year to win a Super Bowl because now money is involved at the quarterback position. So guess who has the advantage? The 8 quarterbacks that are actually good, that are still in their first 4 years on a rookie contract, and they got loaded rosters because they ain't making money. It's too many of them now. Tennessee's up and coming. Green Bay. You talk about the Houston Texans. So many young quarterbacks on rookie deals that allow them to be loaded around them. How do you really compete with that when you got the $50 million quarterback? So is Purdy going to end up like Jimmy G, or is he going to get the contract? And even if he gets the contract, is he still going to end up like Jimmy G? Good enough to not be good enough?
I definitely think Purdy's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm with you on this front, TD. First of all, I think it was a little bit more mistakes than that. Mahomes did throw a pick in the second half, but Purdy had probably 5 or 6 I can think of off the top of my head. But ultimately,
I was on the points. Like you,
that's fair. That's fair. But I'm in agreement with you when it comes to paying quarterbacks. See, the argument that I make against paying quarterbacks is, everybody talks about the Brad Johnsons and the Nick Foles and the Trent Dilfers, but the salary cap era has only been around for 30 years, exactly 30 years now. We've seen it. So we've seen 30 Super Bowls in the salary cap era. There's 2 types of quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl in the salary cap era. Either an inexpensive quarterback, a dirt cheap, not just inexpensive, but dirt cheap. We're talking about making peanuts like Brock Purdy was last year, or guys that are Hall of Fame caliber that are paid big time money. Those are your options. Once guys that aren't Hall of Fame caliber get paid, they don't win rings. And the next time it happens in the salary cap era will be the first time that it happens. So, people have this delusion of, well, this player is a franchise quarterback. Listen, there's guys that I think are good quarterbacks. Dak, I think, is a good quarterback. Kirk Cousins, I think he's a good quarterback. Kyler Murray, I think, is a good quarterback. Goff is a good quarterback. Those are not franchise quarterbacks. They're not franchise quarterbacks because a franchise quarterback can carry you when you're paid and things aren't as good around you. Those are the guys that are your franchise quarterbacks. Now, then the next argument becomes this, and I see it from my fan base all the time when we start talking about paying Brock Purdy. And it's too early to have the conversation fully, but you guys are right in the middle of this. Well, who else are you going to get that's better than Tua? It's not about finding somebody better than Tua. It's about finding somebody that's 80% as good as Tua, but a 15th of the price of Tua so that you can build the elite talent around him and hope that he improves. Maybe that guy becomes elite, but at the very least, the talent is top-notch around him, so you're going to stay winning regardless. And then you keep finding the quarterback until you have that top 7 or 8 guy that is elite and worth paying. Because the moment you pay a guy like Tua or Goff or Dak or Kirk, you're going to be fine. You'll be in the playoff hunt, but you're not winning a Super Bowl. You're not winning a Super Bowl. It's done for you.
But then the argument is, but Nick Foles did it and Eli.
Inexpensive.
Here's what they don't understand. We weren't talking about quarterbacks taking up 23, 24% of the salary cap then. Those guys were taking up 9, 10, 11, 12 max. Like, I don't get, these arguments are ridiculous.
I think Patrick Mahomes is the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl making over 13.5% of the salary cap. This is not the same.
And when you say 13.5%, it still ain't like right now, Deshaun Watson is 24.67% of his salary cap this year. And you got other quarterbacks in the 18, 19, and 20% range. And we're talking about Mahomes, and I think because his cap hit still wasn't large. In the year that he did last year, it wasn't large. His big money is about to start hitting, but it's still a lower percentage. And people don't understand that. But you made a good point, and you explained that very well, and which makes a lot of sense. It's like, go get a guy 80% as good as the guy that you had, because now they have upside to develop, right? In a quarterback friendly system. And then on top of that, now you have an additional, potentially based off of the market, $42 million of talent that you can put around them. People underestimate what $42 million worth of talent is. $42 million worth of talent is not three $14 million players. That's like five $14 million players. It's just their caps are structured different. The way you structure them, you get through it. That's like five nice players. And people don't understand. Like right now, the Dolphins have a roster, even though we're weak in the trenches, right? But we have immense talent. When we pay Tua this offseason, 2 years from now, you got to reduce the talent we got by about 20%. And people really think that, they really think that, like, I hear like people on TV, the ex-quarterback saying, you need to pay Tua and build around him. What did we just do? That was the build. Downgrade around him is what you really mean? Nobody sustains the same rosters that you have when these guys are on rookie deals after their money kick in. But people don't care. They just really obsessed with the quarterback and want to pay him. So how do you feel about, even though we still wouldn't have gotten him, with your theory, would Michael Penix Jr. have been a nice candidate to do exactly what your theory is, a quarterback 80% and then build around him?
Yeah, I think taking any rookie quarterback, constantly taking quarterbacks would have worked. I'll give you a player that's not, I think most of us can agree this is a backup quarterback in the league. But let me ask you this. Would you rather have Tua at $55 million in 2 years, or a guy on the level of Gardner Minshew for $5 million, but you can go get your 3 favorite free agents that offseason? What are you going to choose? You know what I mean? Like, would you, whoever your guys were this offseason, whether it was Patrick Queen, I don't know who some of the other big name free agents were, but whoever those 3 guys are, imagine adding them to your roster with Gardner Minshew, who's serviceable but not great, or you can just have Tua and 3 mid-level guys at those positions. Who would you rather have? Is Tua really elevating you above and beyond that elite type player? Multiple elite type players? No, I don't think so.
Doing his job against the weaker competition and not showing up against the better competition. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't like Minshew though. So
I know, whoever. It could have been, Baker Mayfield last year, whoever the hell it was. You know what I mean?
But even on a Baker Mayfield situation, look at the steal they got on that.
Yeah.
Even though the number is solid, it's not $52 million or nothing like that. They at least get to save $25 million or so, So I get your point.
The other problem, TD, though, and this has happened to Tua as well, but you realize that Shanahan, since he's been the coach, has not had back-to-back seasons where a quarterback has made it all the way through the season. Why is that? That's because they don't protect their quarterback. So Tua not being healthy isn't because Tua is just like brittle. No, they don't protect Tua. They don't invest in the offensive line. And so these players are smaller in stature. They end up getting hurt. Jimmy G was hurt year in and year out. Brock Purdy already lost his right arm in an NFC championship. He made it through last year. Let's see if he makes it through this year. He'll be the first quarterback to make it through back-to-back seasons in this system. So we'll see if he can do it.
No quarterback has made it through 2 seasons in a row.
Not since he's been our head coach. No.
Oh man, Dolphin fans don't want to hear that, bro. Dolphin fans.
It's like, what, you're going to pay $55 million and not protect your quarterback with the offensive line at the very least? Like, give them the protection. Give them the protection. Spend your money there.
They're not. They're not.
No.
They're not going to give them the protection. It is what it is. And McDaniel loves this. I guess it's just their identity as a coach.
I mean, think of
Super Bowls though. So
well, okay, but let's really look at this whole thing for a second. Shanahan gets a lot of credit for being a guy who's transcended the league. It's like, well, you can tell how great of a coach Shanahan is. Half his coaching tree's out there coaching. All right, that's fair. But none of those guys are winning Super Bowls. The only guy to win a Super Bowl was actually McVay, and he's not a Kyle guy. He's a Mike Shanahan guy. And look at what he did with that offense. He completely changed the way the offense was ran when they brought in Matt Stafford. It was like, oh, we're not a run-first team. We're going 3 wide. We're changing the game. We're allowing him to call audibles, protections, everything. This is his game. We're going to let him run it. And then they won a Super Bowl. That was the difference.
And why do they not allow the quarterbacks to call audibles and protections? Or do they just concede they can't? Or are they not teachers?
I really wish I had the answer to that. I don't know what you think about Tua, but I think Brock's plenty smart to do it. I think he knows exactly what's going on. But, the way that the offense is built is you get to the line, you have your run play, you have your pass play. You can, you hear him can, and tap the helmet. Yep. You can switch to the run or the pass or the side, but you can't just, all right, I'm going to audible completely out of this play and go run the play I want to run.
This is what I was telling people. It's too elementary to me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is we got our run play, we got our pass play. And not only does the quarterback does it, but all the receivers and everybody recognize it. That's just saying, hey, extra in the box, switch it. Oh, they're playing high, switching. That's basic. Yeah. That's why all of them tapping the helmet, because it's basic. We all know what we see, and we all know what we're supposed to run right here. But I don't like the fact that my quarterback isn't saying, I got a pass play dialed up. They're giving me the pass. Well, they're in run defense, but based off of the play I have, I see big opportunity. Like, do they know the playbook well enough to say, man, in this defense, let's run this and be able to audible it? Like, are they teaching them that? Because it's like, I give you the play, run the play. Tua said it under Flores, and I think nothing's changed under McDaniel. He said, there was times I go to the line of scrimmage and I know a play wouldn't work, but I would just run it. Do you have another play? Do you know how to audible? You see, and I know he didn't then, but in McDaniel's system, is he teaching audibles? I don't never see this man audible. I just see this, which is switch to, if we had the pass call, you know which run we're doing out of this. If we had the run call, you know which pass we're doing out of this. That's all. That's elementary. People get mad at me when I say that, but that is elementary.
It's true. It's very true. I mean, we famously know about Joe Montana, how he'd call his own plays in the huddle and all those other things. He knew the offense in and out. I don't think it's a quarterback limitation. Now, some quarterbacks, Jimmy G was a bonehead. I don't think he took it very seriously, if I'm being honest with you. Brock Purdy tries to perfect his craft. I think Tua is pretty smart. I mean, that's just me personally. Tua maybe have his limitations. I think he's pretty smart, but I don't.
Lewis Wonderlic.
All right,
like a 13.
Listen, the Wonderlic is a weird test, anyways. How is his S2 cognition? That's what I want to know. But but I don't think that it's a quarterback thing. I think it's this system thing, and I think it's having full control of the system and running it. You run it the way that I want it, or else you don't see the field. And I think that you have your limitations there, because there are certainly times. There was times in the Super Bowl. I'll give you an example. One of the plays I was thinking of where points were taken off the board. I think it was the second to last drive in regulation, second to last drive. Anyways, there's a blitz. McDuffie blitz is late. off the edge. You've got Ayuk running a slant. Usually when a guy blitzes, you're replacing where that guy goes and you're making a hot read. Nope. Shanahan's yelling on the mic, hit McCaffrey. McCaffrey's not even close to open, and he's away from the play. Purdy panics, looks there, it's not open. He ends up throwing to Jennings nowhere near. It had no chance of being completed.
Predetermined, whether it's open or not.
Exactly. But how much of that is on the coach for making it predetermined? Here's your option. You're looking here. Hey, when you get to the line, if you see this lineup, you're throwing to the right. Don't move away from that.
So let's advance the conversation. So I want to push back. I want to push back on that.
Okay.
First of all, you're 1,000% correct. That is on the coach, right? Mm-hmm. But come on, see, this is like, I know they're young, but dogs are dogs. You think Brady gonna go for that? Even a young Brady, a young, Lamar. Like, if you know the game and you know what to do, but your coach is limiting you and there's failure in it, are you gonna sit there and just run what the coach doing? Or are you gonna start barking with the? You see the issues that Jalen Hurts having with his coach right now? I don't know if you noticed. Do you see that?
You want to know the difference, though, TD?
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to kind of go against what our thoughts are a little bit, which is those guys are paid. Usually, like, there's a struggle, there's a power struggle, and once that quarterback gets paid, it's his team. You know what I mean?
I don't see that in Tua, though. Even when he get paid, I see a guy that. Okay,
you might be right.
Maybe I'm wrong.
You might be right about that, but there is that power struggle, and right now it's Shanahan. At least in San Francisco, I'm telling you, it's Shanahan's team, and he can do no wrong. I'll tell you when the fans will start calling for Shanahan's head if they don't win the Super Bowl. The moment that Purdy's paid and he starts crossing Purdy, it's over for Shanahan. Everybody's going to want his head because it was cool when it was Jimmy G. It was cool when it was all, Trey Lance, but they love Brock Purdy. So the moment you start challenging Brock Purdy and holding him accountable out loud, it's over for Shanahan in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's over from a fan perspective, but they're not going to move on from Shanahan. They're not going to move on. Even if
you might be right about that.
They not good, because it's like I heard you talking on the last show. Mm-hmm. It's the Mike Tomlin effect, but even more successful.
It's true.
Well, technically without
a ring, though. That's there's no ring.
Yeah, you got to at least get one. Man, so what do you see? I know this a little bit more San Francisco centric in this question, but what do you see in the immediate future for the San Francisco 49ers having this Ayuk situation hang over your head? And I think that he's an important piece. Do you see the next 2 years being just successful as you've been the last 7?
I don't see the next 2 years being that way, TD. I think this is the last year for this team's run. Now, I look at it and I say, still some very good players, younger players, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Brock Purdy. If he becomes the franchise guy, we'll see how he improves.
Trent is getting older.
Trent Williams is an old man now. I mean, he's 36, and listen, it's not like they're drafting offensive linemen to replace him now. So we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, I could see a couple down years, and then if Purdy's that guy, they'll be fine. But if he's not that guy, I don't know that we'll see this team get close to it again, because at that point he will be getting paid. It has to happen now for this team. It has to.
Man, oh man, time always tells. Let me catch up on some of these super chats because something wrong with my studio. I don't know why it's not showing me at the top. Let me go back.
It's not starring them for you, huh?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it does that to me sometimes too. I've got them starred if you want me to tell you the timestamps.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So we got that one. Phins, you got that one. Okay, here we go. 10:14 p.m. Dave Barclay.
All right, so let me go to 10:14. Perfect. Okay, 10:14. Sorry, y'all. Okay,
These
All
are
right,
all
here it is.
49ers guys coming through.
Got
It's
it.
going to be Dave and Brother Bob going back and forth.
TD, were you happy about Mike McDaniel? Yeah, I was happy, but I don't like being a cheerleader right away on many things. I like to, you got to prove it. And Mike McDaniel has some things that he has to work on. Like, well, I kind of put like frustrating. It's like Mike McDaniel is a great coach, right? People say his in-game adjustments aren't good. I disagree. I actually see him making the adjustments. We show that we suck in them due to our limitations, and he gets right back into what we do well, but the team is clobbering us in what we do well, and he tries to adjust with what we don't do well because they're forcing us to as an adjustment. Like people are like, you need to run the ball more. Well, look at these 9 run plays in a row with 3 punts. And then he abandons the run and go back to the pass, and you get mad because he ain't still running. So I just feel like the biggest issue in Miami is the personnel's limitation, and we know who I'm talking about, for what McDaniel can really be creative in. That's how I feel. And Jesse, I'll probably we running out of time, but I'll probably pull up just like a few 2 or 3 plays of what I'm talking about. And
Let's do it.
You'll see what I'm talking about, because what is Mike McDaniel supposed to do in these situations? But outside of that, the only thing I despise about Mike McDaniel is the fact of, be honest, just tell the world that your quarterback's limited. Otherwise, you're gonna
do that.
He ain't gonna ever gonna do it. But I think, this is my problem. I think he's a great coach, but don't let this man drag you down. Like,
you're tied to the quarterback. The moment he gets paid, you're tied to him. So what's happening behind the scenes is the real question, right? This is how when the Dolphins go to pay Tua, this is how you're gonna know what they really think of Tua. The fans can say what they want, right? If they don't give him a bunch of guaranteed money in a bunch of years, that tells you they question who Tua is.
Well, that's what the holdup is. They're not meeting in the middle, and Tua's frustrated. He's like, the market is the market. And then they're trying to put, conditions in the contract. So we already know what they think. But you're in a situation where you didn't have a contingency or nothing. You're stuck. You're not only stuck for that reason, but you're stuck because you even fired a coach on behalf to choose him. So at the end of the day, you gotta pay him. So it actually won't hold that much weight given those circumstances, because you're stuck. Now you play that hardball now. If the owner doesn't look at that as you're starting to fail as a general manager, then, because he had to decide with Flores and Greer, because they couldn't get along, because Flores wanted more personnel control and stuff. And he wasn't a Tua guy. He wanted Jordan Love.
Yeah, Flores be dealing on defense, man. His defense in Minnesota gave the 49ers fits last year.
A lot of people don't know what was happening in Minnesota last year. I followed it, that defense, and those are a whole bunch of no-name guys.
Mm-hmm.
Guys.
Oh, absolutely. That defense was not talented, and he had them playing way above expectation.
Well, he got some talent this year. We'll see what happens. Time will tell. Cal needs someone to tell him to run the ball.
I told you, man.
He got all those weapons, man. Jordan Mason averages over 6 yards every play. Do we have any more? Yep. Yeah. I agree. McDaniel over Kyle Levy, but Tua is overrated.
He calls him Kyle Levy because he keeps getting to the Super Bowl and losing like Levy did in Buffalo.
Man, Buffalo, that's terrible. Mike McDaniel is smarter than Kyle every day. Well, until he gets to the Super Bowl like Kyle, hey, I'm just saying. Jess is no homer. He picked Cincy over Niners.
That was my prediction last year, was Cincy over the Niners.
They would have killed me, man. Brother Bob is right, but Jess is a realist lately. You see what I go through on Twitter.
Hey, listen, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a story real quick. You wouldn't have known this, but There was a thing that happened about 2 years ago where I called out Trent Williams for tipping plays. Okay. I don't know how, but this thing went so viral that Pat McAfee was talking about it. They were talking about it on Monday Night Football. Like, it went crazy. Every NFL player came in and was caping for Trent Williams. He's not tipping plays. He's not da 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 da. What happened was every time I pushed back, and nobody saw the pushbacks from me, right? They don't see the side conversations. They just see the initial NFL player comes in, he dunks on you, he's smarter than you, you're an idiot. But they don't see the back and forth after that.
Dealing with that.
You're going through it right now. I know you are. So what happened was I pushed back every time, and most of these guys were cool enough to respond. And every single instance, every one of them was like, yeah, actually, now that you've shown me, you're actually right. But nobody saw that, right? They just knew I'm a big idiot, and every NFL player called me an idiot. They don't remember that Taylor Lewan, who pushed back against me, came back in the offseason and on his show, Busting with the Boys, was like, yeah, Trent Williams tips plays, but, he's so great. I'm like, nobody remembers that stuff. So listen, man, you're doing something right if you're getting the pushback. It is what it is.
Yeah, they come hard. How dare you argue with somebody who does it? Like, y'all, stop with these bird brains all the time.
But you know what's funny? You know what's funny with the fan bases? And I get it. Listen, fan is short for fanatic. You're supposed to love your team. I understand that, and I respect the hell out of it. But what's funny is you'll get somebody like Chris Sims, who wasn't a great quarterback. If Chris Sims talks bad about your quarterback, oh, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. What were your stats in the NFL, Chris? It doesn't matter that he has NFL accolades, but the moment that average quarterback, Kurt Bentkurt, who had like one career snap, comes forward and is like, I think Brock Purdy and Tua is this. It's like, oh, now all of a sudden, career backup quarterback knows what he's talking about. Yeah. And you don't because he played in the NFL. As long as it fits your narrative.
Exactly. It's bias. It's the ultimate bias at the end of the day. It is what it is. These people, they're just so cultish to me. But I think Jess is turning to the dark side analytics. Tough. Let me see if there's any more. Okay, yeah. Dave again say, if you say Brother Bob's name 3 times, he appears.
These guys will go back and forth with super chats talking to each other.
Harris, Brother Bob, Niners gang. Who else we got? We play y'all this year, right?
Yeah, we play.
I'm sure you play in Miami, right?
In Miami, yep.
Yeah, I'm sure you're predicting the L. I like you being able to be honest about your team. Oh man, Dave, TD is late on supers like Jess is in general.
Hey, y'all killing me.
Too many truths, Brother Bob. Well, they really just going back and forth. Jesse better when he gets riled up, turns red. Now I know time is flu. That means we've been having some fun on here. So I just want to play a little bit of this real quick.
Yeah, let's see it. I want to see it.
Yeah, we could play around with it. Let me put us at the bottom. Let me get rid of this. All right. Let me see. Give me 1 second. All right. Maybe I need to put us at the top. Oh, did it take you away?
Yeah, but it's fine. You can hear me, I think.
All right, cool. So, yeah, man, I went over this on my channel last night, and this is some of the stuff I'm talking about with the quarterback play. It's like, what does McDaniel do with this? First play of the game, dud in the dirt, right? And I understand now.
It's cold.
Yeah. When they talk about cold, but I want you to see how many plays. That was one play, right? I want you to see how many plays in this one game. Throwing off the back leg, intercepted. Just
can we rewind that real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
They confuse the hell out of Tua here. Look at what they do with their safeties. Look at how they rock and roll their safeties pre-snap.
Yeah, look at their pre-snap, their motion.
Rotating them around, rocking and rolling them. Yep, look at that.
Yep. He looking at one guy. And they always talk about anticipation. Tua blindly throws his ball over the middle and it's complete like he always does during the season. But I think that confusion didn't make him feel comfortable about just blindly throwing it. Because look, Usually that ball will be on its way to the Kansas City logo. And even though that's not much separation, it turns into separation. And this is why they say he looks so good in the regular season. I don't know if you can see my cursor on the screen.
Yeah, I got you. I see it.
Yeah, you see this guy? Like, he'll make that throw in the regular season when they don't do all that confusion stuff. And it'll look like the perfect thing ever. And Waddle would catch this in stride and get a big game, and they'll say he's elite. Look at that anticipation, even though it's a spot. This time, I think that pre-snap really made him say, hey, I got to make sure no one is there because they're doing some funny stuff. Look at the safeties. I got two high, but now they're moving. Is it single high? Oh, I got single high. Whoa, it's no longer single high. No longer single high now. And you see at the beginning of the play, who does he want to force feed it to? Tyreek. But what he not used to is man-to-man press coverage. You see that? So first look was the safety to Tyreek, back to the middle to the safeties. Now he's looking at the Waddle route. And he doesn't anticipate. He waits that extra second and just sails it high. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's 2 plays.
He had the defender underneath too. He's trying to fit it over the defender, but he couldn't do it.
Third play, back in the flat again, high end in front. You want Mosher to make that, but usually I know they work on it in his chest.
Can I ask you something? Do you get a lot of fans? Because I get this a lot on the 49ers side with Brock Purdy. Do you get a lot of fans bringing up Drew Brees when they try to hype up Tua?
All the time. Drew Brees struggled his first few years.
Yeah. Here's the difference. And Tua is very similar to Brock, where I think, anticipation throws, what have you, spot throws, however you want to look at it. The difference is ball placement. Brock Purdy, I would say, is probably middle of the league for ball placement. You want to look at accuracy? Go look at CJ Stroud. I don't care what the completion percentage shows you. Look at where the ball is put on
Thank you.
Every
and
single time.
let me tell you something, Jesse. I be arguing with fans, right? Because there'll be a game where a receiver is wide open, but they got to jump off their feet to catch it. They got to reach low to catch it. They have to dive to catch it. They have to reach backwards to catch it. I say, hey, that's a good that's a good play, good catch. But Tua got to straighten up on his ball placement and man-to-man press coverage, tight coverage. We're in trouble in that situation. Oh, you can't even be happy for a completion. These things rear their ugly heads at the big moments when you play great teams. And this is a prime example game right here because they're going to smother you. Everything isn't going to be wide open.
Yeah, Drew Brees is the most accurate passer of all time. That's the difference.
But they always give Tua the accuracy nod. But watch this film. Play number 4. Bobbled the snap. That's all, and I'm going to tell you, that's
Ball's
what
got to be out, man.
He bobbled. Look at the bobble of the snap. That's what threw him off. Everything has to be a perfect rhythm for him. Watch the bobble when he gets it. Hike the ball, missed it. Bam, had to regain it.
Still got to get that ball out.
Yeah, I agree. But that's who he is. He can't get it out because now it's like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? It's like a internal panic. That's 4 plays. Play number 5. Now this one was pressure. But I want you to look at the pressure, right? You see pre-snap, you could already see it coming.
Yeah.
But look, this is what bothers me about the Dolphins offense. Another thing we do is cut off the middle of the field. How many defenders do you see at the top, Jesse?
At the what? Top of the screen? 3?
Yeah. 3, right?
Yeah.
Now, 3-on-3, and one of them is a high safety. Like, to me, that's the side you're going to with this route concept. And here's why. And they sent the blitzer on top of that. But we cut the field off and we already know where we want to go. Predetermined, right? And now the pressure is coming on. If you're looking on the right side, you hit this check down right away with the blitz, wherever the pressure is coming from.
I will say this. That's one thing where I think Purdy does a really good job is he knows where his safety net's at all times. He always knows where the check down's at. And it's built into the offense. There's always a check down for him.
Mm.
He knows where it's at every single time.
And that's how you survive those. Burrows get at that too. But here's what a lot of teams like the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, and the Kansas City Chiefs do to us. I want you to notice what happened here on that play, though. Look at the alignment for the receiver in motion. They sent the corner in motion like he was guarding him man to man and sent him on a blitz. He never was guarding him. You see that?
Yeah.
That is a pre-snap defense. You know, and they confuse him every time with this.
They show you what you want to see, and then they do something
it's
different.
Totally different. They do it to the T to where they're following you on a motion, even though they're blitzing.
And it's probably built in too. McDuffie probably wasn't going to blitz unless they do go in motion. It's probably like, hey, if they go in motion, you end up inside, you're blitzing. Otherwise, you're just playing man to man on the outside.
Yep. You see this clean pocket?
Oh, yeah.
What options do you see?
Well, I mean, right now you're going to have 2 high safety. I don't know what routes are going to be ran, but I mean, dude, you've got 2 checkdowns right over here. I don't know if you're going to run corners on the bottom side of the screen and the top side of the screen, but those are options for you. You can hit the whole shot there. There's multiple things. And you've got 89 sitting down right here too.
He's made his mind up. He already cut. I told you now, once you look one way, that's where we're going with 2, okay? But you see who his target is, right?
Yeah.
And that's Waddle, by the way, at the top of the screen between the 30 and 40. You see the route.
Oh, he is running a corner route. Okay.
But watch the pass. He turns a corner route into a go. Big miss. You see what I'm saying? So everybody talks about weather.
That's that power throw, though. That's the power throw. Cold weather, ball's inflated. You got to get it up over the corner. You got to drop a seed on a line. Like, that's a power throw. Those are the power throws that I'm talking about. That's a power throw.
Perfect route and open.
Yeah.
And open. And now he has to reroute to track the ball.
Listen, I know that you probably stopped watching football. You didn't, because you have an NFL show, but you probably wanted to stop watching football after the Dolphins lost this game. But do you remember the conversations going into this game, you know, knowing how cold it was going to be? Like, the national media is like, oh, what's it? How's Tua and the Dolphins going to hold up? And da-da-da-da-da. We know that the weather was just as cold and bad in Buffalo. How many times did we hear questions about how the quarterbacks were going to hold up in that game? Never in the lead up. Not in Buffalo. You know why? Because you have Josh Allen and you had Patrick Mahomes, and everybody knows their arms going to cut through it with no issue.
Exactly. Even on this play right here, man, Jesse, bro. I'm gonna go pre-snap. Pause right here. What do you see?
You got a wheel route with Mostert. You got a corner that's trying to run across the defense. That's usually a good sign. And then you've got one-on-one across the board over here. Hopefully you can get somebody open and man beat.
Watch this. Pause again. What are you seeing now? I'm gonna go one more frame after this.
Is this Snead right here? 30. Is that 30? Is that Snead in the middle of the field?
38.
By the 20-yard line? Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. 38. He's closer to the 15 than anybody.
Look at what Snead's doing. He's reading to his eyes. He's bailing. This route in the middle, whoever this is in the middle, he's supposed to be one-on-one with him. He's leaving his route.
Yeah.
Go with this guy over the middle because he's watching Tua.
Because he knows, and that's Tyreek that he's Tua staring at. You see the force feeding? Like, Snead is literally abandoning the tight end that's at the 20 to go make sure that they double Tyreek. And that wheel route, I would have been chucked that, by the way.
Yeah, you got that one open, yep.
But if you're not going to chuck the real route, the ball is already gone. You know that, right?
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
It's already gone to Tyreek. Almost picked off, lucked out.
He didn't even see Snead. Snead completely bailed on his route and went right after Tyreek.
You talk about processing the field. And they say he's an elite processor.
Did he have a clean pocket?
Yeah. Well,
I didn't see the pocket. I didn't see the pocket.
Let's go back. They say he's an elite processor. Well, no. Let's go back. Let's go back.
There you go.
Let's get the beginning. Bam. Yep.
Oh,
Clean
yeah.
pocket.
Plenty of time.
And didn't even throw on platform. He threw off platform.
Hold on a second. Look at okay. So let's say he starts off to the right, and he stops here, the freeze frame before he throws it, before he takes his windup. It looks like it's man to man across the board, which it is. Snead bails, but he looks at it and goes, "Oh man, everybody's covered." Well, if you wanted to look at the 3 wide receiver side and not see the wheel route, that's fine. You can't see the whole field at once. I understand that. He chose the right side. But what he has, look at across the middle.
Yes,
You've got an option across the middle. Why wouldn't you take that?
Because he already knows where he's going with the football on almost every play, no matter what happens. And people get mad when I say that. I continue to prove he already knows the route he wants to throw the ball to, even if it's not open. Sometimes he'll catch himself, but this is normal.
Was he like this his first 2 years? Did he do the same stuff?
They didn't put him in these situations. They kept it all shallow because he has these issues. Now, if you're a bum team running zone and and Tyreek would be open on this play, maybe.
Oh yeah, you're front running like crazy.
And you're catching him, and you're like, oh, Tua's cooking, and he's great. And I keep telling people he's only great because of the type of defense being played. And then when you run up against a great defense that schemed to him, it's like night and day every time.
You know what I noticed with these timing-based offenses like Shanahan has as well? Sometimes Purdy will make a throw, and it just looks so good. It's like right over the top of a defender, lobbed between 2 guys, and it's like, yeah, but he threw that before he even knew what was about to come his way.
They think he saw the defender and said, I'm going to put it like this so that it could be right over there. No, it's just the timing and the defender not in the right position.
I'm not saying every great throw is like that, but there's a lot where it's like, dude, he made that throw before he saw how that was going to develop. And it looked amazing because of the way it resulted.
But they'll say he knew it was going to develop that way. All right.
Yes.
Look at what the defense does on this. Safety.
Rocking and rolling again.
You see the blitz coming and the bail late.
Oh, look at here's your safety. McDuffie's turning into your 2 high safety. I love this. This is beautiful.
But I want you to notice another thing. You see the linebacker blitzing, but then he's not blitzing.
Yeah. They're messing with them. They're in their bag. They are in their bag, confusing the hell out of Tua right now.
But he
doesn't know what's coming.
Here's the outside throw again. The previous play, there was a play where the corner at the top took the underneath flat guy and let that guy go. They ran it again and gave it to him. And Tua makes the right read. Oh, the flat's not there. Bam. Look at that at the top of the screen.
Tua actually manipulates him there. Look at it, because he double pumped. He pumped towards the running back to get him to bite down and get what he wanted. That's actually a good play by Tua. Bad throw, but a great play.
He's the best manipulator in the league. That's what I be telling people. That's his strength. His manipulation of safeties and defenders.
Yeah, that's a great play.
But they think they think it's all processing and everything. But anyway, look at this. Oh man, you just missed so much. And we talk about accuracy.
It's a power throw again. Listen, he's far hash. Again, cold weather, past 10 yards downfield outside the numbers. You got to hit him in a hole shot. You got to have an arm to make that throw.
And we only got like 1 more minute of this on the clock. But bro, Jesse, we're like 12 plays in one game. And we got like another 5 to go. And this is all in one game when it matters most.
I bet you in cold weather in Buffalo, it looks a lot like this too.
Yep. Now, once again, they say he's a great anticipator. Here's another play with another problem. Pause right here. Like you got a clean pocket and you don't even let the play develop. We cut the field off. He's going right. Isn't this the one? But no, he takes Waddle, and this guy almost got Waddle killed. But even
Go. Can you go back one frame though? Because he is in the middle of his throw. I want to be fair. I don't know what the reactions are of these corners before he starts his windup.
He's looking at Tua the whole time.
He is looking down. Yeah, he's looking down. Okay.
He's staring at Tua. So he's reading.
Also, we got this seam. By the way, we got this seam wide open on this right side.
Well, remember, I don't care about that because he's looking left. It ain't never coming right.
Yeah, that's right.
Problem. Now look at the check down option though. Right.
Mostert over the middle. Yeah.
We always miss those, but that's my point. If you are gonna look at the left between Waddle and Tyreek, right here, you got to know. You have to know because you know the route. The safety cannot get to that route, but that corner is eyeing you. This is when you want to maybe look at the safety, but you're looking at Tyreek. You're telling corner what you're doing.
You got to remember he's already missed this throw. So he's missed it twice. So he's not confident he can make that throw again.
Well, which is true too. But then let's pause right here. Corner right there knows. Let me slow down. Corner's already shifting his body. Corner shifted it. He's seeing the throw coming.
Brother, he's got Mostert wide open for a good 15. Underneath.
I know. Every time. Because he's already knowing where he would. See, when I say he already know where he goes with the ball in McDaniel's system, he already know which side he's going, and the play usually is designed to give him two options. Not progressions across the field, just two options. If the guy stays here, hit that guy. If the guy stays back, hit this guy. That's what.
You're reading defenders. You're reading defenders is what you're doing.
This is the one we talked about with ball placement. We hit this play every week right here. Let me tell you what happens on this play. I want you to look at this. You see the bail of the safety?
Mm-hmm.
Tua thinks he has this seam right away because teams usually give us this because this guy right here is pass rushing. And Tua hits this 5 times a game against bad teams. But they took it away, and then he went outside. Bam, they took it away. So then he comes back to his next option, outside, and just terrible ball placement.
No.
Terrible ball placement. And again, we cut the field off. You talk about those seams. They give you the seams in the post routes. Look at the guy with his hand up.
Mm-hmm.
You see this over here? You see the seam? They give us this and they give us the post, but we don't throw them.
That's an awful throw.
Almost there, man. This is a lot of bad.
Even his touchdown pass in this game was severely underthrown, if I remember correctly, to Tyreek. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was. I remember because Tyreek came back and then he made a move and ran it in. Clean pocket. Man. That same seam.
How's Tua with stepping up? Like if he gets pressure from the outside, does he step up well and keep his feet, or is he kind of panic?
No, he does. He steps up if it's clear as day.
Yeah,
he's gonna step up here. I think. Nope. Oh my god! Like
throwing out. Why is he throwing off his back foot for what?
He did get hit. Let me see. At the time, he didn't even know he was getting hit. Though
he's not even putting He's not even putting everything into that.
But But we also talk about anticipation. Again, these seams are there. He's made this a million times, Jesse, right here. I want you to look at the deep crosser. I want you to look at it. He's made this against the bad. Look, you see what I mean? Like he's made that so many times.
Yeah, but see, go back real quick. I want to be completely fair in my assessment of him. You got this guy sitting deep over the middle. He's watching. Stop. He starts to react and break down as soon as he sees Tua making this throw. But this is where Tua needs to manipulate again. He needs to pump fake it and then hit him over the top.
It's the anticipation of it though as well. Like we've seen him hurry up and get that ball right at about the 30-yard line right here, right in front of the safety on his cut. right on his cut because this guy's playing the middle of the field for the middle. He still has the throw here, but he takes the check down again. Right here, here's my thing too on this play. He didn't even know that pressure was coming. Right there.
He's not pressured yet.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He's already mind made up, and they're all over it. That's a bang bang. They hit him. Actually, it should have been pass interference. But at the same token, you made a pass where a guy got there before the defender got there before the ball even got there.
I wish we had the down and distance on that play too, because it makes it much worse. Like if that was a third down or something, right? And you got to have it play, that it makes it even worse that you're just checking down short of the sticks. I don't know that that's the case, but that factors in as well.
It wasn't because same next play in the game, you're lined up again in the same area. Same first down marker.
Okay.
Paul throwing off his back foot. And again, this actually is a quick check down if you were going there, but you're not. I actually like what he did on this. He finally is attacking that seam that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
He finally attacks that seam, but just a bad throw.
Yeah. He's throwing it way too early. They weren't on the same page at all. At all. And you got to wonder, though, too. I don't know who the receiver is there. It looks like Waddle. You got to wonder, too, like at what point even the receiver's looking at it and saying, hey, I know I'm not getting the ball here. Like, F it. You know what I mean? And then he looks back. He's like, well, you threw it to me? Like, now you want to throw it? I wasn't running my route full. I didn't think I was getting the ball there.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Good point. Look at this. This is the one he steps up. He steps up into this one from the pressure. He comes up, pause. You see what you have here?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's taking this. I don't like this play from McDaniel because the out-breaking route, I just feel like, why are you throwing 35-yard out-breaking routes? It was outside, and on top of it, this is an arm string throw too.
Yeah, that's a tough throw for a lot of people. That's I don't know if I would have made that decision.
Yeah, and on top, this throw requires anticipation. This throw requires right here, even though you're stepping up, that ball has to be gone. So you still trying to make the throw after stepping up. That disrupted the timing, I believe.
It's too late. At that point, when you step up, you either got to get mobile yourself or you've got that check down coming out of the backfield. You got to hit that. Not a fan of the play design, though. Running everybody deep is
I said that too, but you know what he was trying to do? This is McDaniel's trying to adjust late in the game, saying, let's start going to what they're giving us, the seam and the outbreaking routes of the posts. You got two posts, you got two of them here, outbreaking routes. And remember, the play before was the seam. So this is where people like McDaniel needs to make the adjustment. This is what I mean by he is. That seam route on that last play, terrible throw by Tua. The outbreaking route, technically, if you anticipate the throw, it can be there. But you had to step up, hit your running back down here, and let him shake and bake and try to make a play to get some yards.
Yeah, he's not going to make that throw ever in his life.
I've seen him make it. It sailed, and the receiver was wide open and waited on it to come. Pause. So he knows where he's going. You see the seam again?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he's not taking it this time because it looks a little bit more congested than normal. A little tight.
So Jimmy, okay, I see. Here's what I'm saying, and this is, you called this out earlier. You called this out earlier where you have a 3/2. Why are we choosing that side? Is that a McDaniels thing? Now, Jimmy G used to be the same way, and Brock Purdy doesn't do it as much, and we're in the same offense. So I got to imagine that it is quarterback choice here on what side he chooses pre-snap. Why are you choosing a 3/2 when you got 3 over here?
That's what I'm saying. You got 1-on-1, and look over here. You got these.
And look at this is a Shanahan special where you got basically a clear out with 2 ends following each other. So you have a choice over here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he actually goes in and fly. Just a bad high throw.
Mm.
Just a bad high throw. But let me look at those crossers underneath. Yeah, look at the stagger guy over here. You can still hit Berrios, but look at the stagger guy. Yeah, but I know the down and distance is a requirement here too, because remember, we're at the same part of the field, and that's the third play. That's the third play in a row. Now the next play, I think we just turned. I think this might have been a turnover on downs or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because you know what? Yeah. Well, obviously we're not seeing run plays here, so there easily could have been a run play mixed in there that was stuff for nothing as well on the first down. So,
and that was all of them, but if I'm not mistaken, 16 plays in one game.
Yeah.
16 in one game.
Do Dolphins fans really, this is just you and I talking. I know nobody else is watching us. I wouldn't want Dolphin fan to hate me, but Dolphins fans really think that Tua is better than Herbert. Is that a real thing?
Well, some Dolphin fans believe that. Yeah. But it was cold. It was cold.
It was cold. Listen, I get it. It was cold.
Two people had to have amputations, so it was that cold. No, I'm serious. Two people. That's what
I know. Listen, I know it was cold, but again, you've never ever heard that when Josh Allen's playing football or Patrick Mahomes is playing football, how cold it is. In that game, did Patrick Mahomes not play in the same game? Did anybody once say, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. I don't know if his arm will cut through it. That never came up one time.
He was making his throws.
Yeah.
He was making his throws. So this is what Dolphin Nation is. This is what we're living with. And everybody thinks that this is our future and this is our guy. And this is what you see in every big game versus Baltimore, versus Buffalo, versus the Chiefs. Not this egregious. Not this egregious, but some games have more turnovers. You know what I mean? And and don't forget, sometimes he fumbles, the snap in here and there, and we lose it. So this is what we have. But we talk about anticipation. Did you see much of that in these plays?
I mean, there's definitely some anticipation, but anticipation doesn't always mean good. I mean, if you're just turning down clean things.
Did you see elite anticipation?
No, because elite anticipation means that you're making good decisions with that anticipation. So no.
Did you see processing of the field?
Not in that game, no.
What about accuracy?
Oh, hell no. Absolutely not. No.
And it frustrates me because when we play the bum teams that run zone, cover 2 base zone, leaving the middle of the field open, and we're cooking all day, and a lot of the passes are bad placement, but we're catching them, and we're eating, and he's eating, receivers are eating. He's the best thing on turf. 370 yards this week, 420 yards this week against a team running a cover 2 base, leaving the middle of the field wide open. No disguise, no press, 10-yard cushion on receivers. Everything is a go, and we're living and that is what they are judging his success off of from a statistical standpoint.
I'll tell you, that doesn't look like the same team that could have hung 90 on the Broncos earlier in the season.
If we next time I'll pull up the Broncos film and you'll see what the defense was running. You'll see receivers catching the ball without a defender within 10 feet circular around them. There ain't a receiver that you saw in all 16 of those plays where they weren't within at least 5 feet of a guy. You see what I'm saying? So, and don't forget that Broncos game as well, the run game was just as crazy. The run game itself put up like 30 something. So that was like a whole team effort in that game.
The thing is that the Dolphins have so much speed that if you feel like you don't have the corner, and this is where the Dolphins are good, right? Is much like the 49ers, there are not a lot of teams that can run press man and bring three corners to the fight, right? Not many teams like that exist. And so what you get is most of the league is running zone, off zone, because they're so worried about the speed and they don't know how to beat it or match it. And so you get to look great. But for those few times a year, the Browns, the Chiefs, the Ravens, you get exposed because they have something that they can bring to the fight that's different than what you're used to. And now it's on your quarterback to make everything perfect. Can you go win the game on your right arm, or in Tua's case, your left arm? If not, you're going to get exposed here today. And that's what these teams are doing.
And I guess the last thing I'll say, you know what I think it is too, Jesse, schematically against Tua, what teams like this do, they just want to show you a body close to the receiver to make you think about whether you want to throw it or not. Just think. In that half a second you needed to think, oh, you ain't got the arm strength to make up for that half second you just thought. Or you're gonna second guess where you need to put it because you got to be perfect with placement now. Because the timing disrupted just by you looking at a defender right next to your guy, figuring, oh, where do I need to put it? It's already disrupted now. And I think that's what it is. Show a man next to the receiver. Make him make the perfect throws, the perfect placement throws. And I think that's what hurts him, because all these games where he's balling, he's literally looking at wide open guys running free all over the place. And I think fundamentally that's what the Chiefs, Baltimore, and teams like that do. Make him really have to think. But the good thing is Tua is better than Purdy. He's going to prove it this year when y'all come to Miami.
The thing is like I don't even want to like do this because I feel like we're arguing over two guys that aren't elite. You know, it's like, oh, my guy's less mid than your guy. But like, but again, like, give me the game. Let me say this about Purdy. And by the way, his story is not completely told. So what Purdy is today, I still think there's room for him. First of all, he's younger in his career than Tua. There's growth for him that I don't know that Tua has. Second of all, we've got the mobility. We talked about that. And then I talked about playing with some guts, basically, right? What I do know is it wasn't perfect for Brock Purdy in the rain against Green Bay. He doesn't play well in the rain for whatever reason. But what I can say is when the game was on the line and they needed it and it got to have it drive, he made it happen. Yeah. When has Tua ever done that in a playoff game or a big time game?
I'm just trolling. You know, I'm not going to front like that. Purdy, I actually like Purdy, but I still think the jury is out. You know, I want to see.
Oh, it is out. It is out. Yes.
Just as much as he has a little bit more upside to him, he could also regress. So as teams get used to him, but I like Purdy. And the thing that I love about Purdy over Tua, because they are similar in a lot of accounts.
Yep.
But the thing that I do like about Purdy is that in the big moment, he ain't the reason you lose.
No.
Not 3 games.
He's not the reason you win sometimes, though, either. I will say, listen,
true.
The Chiefs and this is the difference in elite quarterbacks, right? Here's the thing. My expectations for Brock Purdy, based on what I think he is, he met all my expectations in that Super Bowl. Yeah. Now, what I told the fan base is if you think he's elite, the way you talk about him, oh, he's better than Josh Allen and all these crazy things you want to say, he's better than Herbert and all this, CJ Stroud, whatever. If that's the case, then your expectations should have been much higher than mine. And he didn't meet your expectations in that Super Bowl because you're expecting him to go carry in those situations. And he didn't do that.
Yeah.
So he's not that guy. But what he did do is if my expectations of him and CMC going into that game, he met my expectations. CMC didn't. Debo didn't. Brandon Ayuk didn't. Trent Williams didn't. Kyle Shanahan didn't. They're supposed to be your elite of the elite. George Kittle didn't. So I don't put it on Brock Purdy at all as the reason why they lost the Super Bowl. Now, he wasn't the reason they won, but they certainly... That's not why they lost either. It was not Brock Purdy.
Well, I always say, again, When it matters most, at least he shows up to the party.
That he does.
Whether you win or lose, all I ask my quarterback to do, win or lose, show up to the party. Don't contribute to the loss. It's okay to lose as long as you're not contributing to the loss. Now I know you're our guy. We need to do better around you. But when you're contributing to the loss, I don't want to hear this. Oh, the whole team was bad. Yeah, they were. But you know what? That one position cannot join that party. That one position cannot contribute to losses, man. Or you ain't got the guy. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, man. We got Jesse overtime tonight. We was only supposed to go like an hour at max, man. I'm sorry, Jesse. We done pulled you over on the dark side.
It's all good. It's all good.
But thank you so much for coming through again. We got 437 watching, about 250 on YouTube and 181 on Twitter. Y'all go subscribe right now to Last Second Sports with my man Jesse. You can check him out on Roundtable Sports as well. In the weakest division in football. But no, I'll just play. But yes, y'all make sure you go check him out, man. A good friend of mine, good friend of the channel. And we got to do this again before
Absolutely.
we play each other. So I can
tell
you
listen, every week during the season, TD, I do this thing called Behind Enemy Lines, where the Wednesday before the game, we get together and we chop it up for an hour and a half. I teach you teach my fan base about your team and vice versa. We're definitely going to make that happen for sure. We'll definitely make it happen.
They ain't going to like me, Jesse. They ain't going to
That's fine. Hey, that's good. That's good.
But thanks so much for coming through. Thank you, everybody watching right now. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We finna get out of here and get some sleep. We both work hard at what we do. Peace. We are out. We're going to get y'all through to the regular season. We'll see you soon. Thank you to everybody watching from Last Second Sports as well. We appreciate you coming over here as well. But everybody else, y'all go subscribe to the homie channel. All right. Love y'all. We'll see you soon.